Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mos from CommonCode.com. Today I'm going to touch on the arrow functions. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So let's get started. First of all, what are arrow functions? Arrow functions are just normal functions, but the syntax is a little different. So let's just start by creating a normal JavaScript function. So a normal JavaScript function will be function, and then the name of the function may be sum, and then inside the function we can return the sum of two numbers. So here we can have a and b as parameters, and we can just return a plus b. And we can, instead of naming the function, we can just store it in a variable called sum. So this is a normal function in JavaScript, and we can call it. Let's first use the console.log, and we can call it normally using sum, and then we pass the parameters. Let's pass 1 and 2, and obviously the result will be 3, and that's true. But this is a normal function. What about an arrow function? An arrow function syntax is very, very simple. All you need to do is that you just need to remove this part, and then instead of typing function, you would just type parentheses and then equals and then angular bracket or greater than, whatever you want to call it, and then curly braces, and inside the curly braces you type whatever you want to do inside this function. Now if I pass parameters here, let's say a and b, if I save and run, as you can see I'm gonna get 3. Just like before. If I change this to the second parameter to 3, what I'm going to get obviously is 4, and as you can see I get 4. So this is an arrow function. But there are many things you need to know about arrow functions. First of all, in order to return something in an arrow function, you have to write the word return if you are going to use curly braces. But if you aren't going to type here curly braces, you can just remove the curly braces and also remove the return and just type, and then just type equals angular bracket and then a plus b. It's automatically going to return the sum of a plus b. If I save and run, as you can see I'm gonna get 4. But if I add, again, if I add curly braces, if I surround this by curly braces, what I'm gonna get is that I'm gonna get undefined. Why? Because arrow functions don't know what exactly you want to return. It only knows that there is something inside this function, but you didn't return anything. You need to type return in case you are going to add curly braces. But if you aren't going to add curly braces, you don't need to add the return keyword. So this is very, very important. You need to be careful because many times you will be confused. Why am I not getting the right answer? Why the function isn't returning anything? And the reason is that you are probably using the curly braces and you didn't type the return keyword. And my recommendation is that you always use the return keyword with the curly braces, because that way you will know that you are returning something instead of just using the expression itself, at least at the beginning, because they are confusing for you as a beginner. As a beginner user of arrow functions, you will be confused why you aren't returning anything. So I would recommend using the return with the curly braces. But what about the default values? In normal functions, we would have a default values like this. For example, function, and then sum, and then a, and then b, and then here inside we can return a plus b. And if we want to have default values for a and b, we can just type here equals, let's say 2, and here equals 3, and let's just comment this out. If I save and run, of course after passing nothing to the sum here, What I'm going to get obviously is 5, as you can see 5, because I didn't pass anything in the function. I just used the default values. And in arrow functions, in order to pass default values, what you would do is that you would here type equals the default value, let's say 3, and b the default value, let's say 6. Now if I save and run, what I'm going to get is obviously 9, and that's true, 9, because these are the default values and I am not passing anything. So this is just an introduction about arrow functions, and you might be wondering, why would we use arrow functions? Well, arrow functions are very, very useful in case of using them as callback functions, or with promises, with observables, with many, many things. And the syntax is much easier and smaller to type. And I know that it's going to be confusing for you at the beginning, but after using so many callback functions and promises with arrow functions, things will be very, very clear and easy to use. So this is just an introduction about arrow functions. If you liked this video, share, like, and subscribe. And I'd also like to know your opinion about arrow functions, so leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.